We are back with your favorite show, The League of the Genuine. If you're joining us for the first time here, this is a show that is dedicated to the discussion about counterfeits, fakes, substandard. This subject is not often spoken about, so that is why we are the only show on the planet that discusses this increasingly important subject. Today we shall be going out of the normal. Usually we discuss fast moving goods, products we use every day in our homes, but today we're going to another sector that you might actually think is not very relevant to your daily life. This is the mining sector. We have here a gentleman who you can say is in the business or is an expert in this area, Mr. Tom Msubuga. He's the chairperson of the Uganda Miners Forum. Uganda Miners Forum, and Mr. Msubuga, you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's the first time I am talking to a miner, let alone hosting a miner. I don't know much about mining. Uganda Miners Forum, you are also doing investment in mining. You have private companies. Just tell us in a minute, what are you doing in the mining industry? What is the mining industry about?
Mining industry, it's a very big business, though with a very small family. But for us who understand it, we've been in there for quite a while.
You've been there how many years now?
I have been in the extractive sector for the last 11 years. I started with Crown Uganda Limited. It was doing tungsten in Kabale.
I know Crown, yes.
Yeah, Crown. So I parted ways with my colleague and we formed our own company. It's called Arm Investment. And it's
Where are you based?
In Mitoma district. We are doing industrial minerals. We are supplying kaolin and feldspar to Goodwill. We are
Kaolin.
Kaolin.
Kaolin is used in making what?
Ceramics, tiles. So we are the suppliers.
It's a whitish thing.
Yeah.
Kaolin.
Kaolin.
You mine kaolin,
Yes,
in Mitoma.
in Mitoma. And we've been working with them for the last 5 years. We are supplying them feldspar and kaolin. Then, of course, I'm the chairperson of Miners Forum Uganda. It is a platform for miners. We are about 21 mining companies. We are not so many in the industry. We are about 21. We came up as a group to discuss our in-house problems and reach out to people that are responsible for making policies and streamlining our business.
So you are like a pressure group, that forum?
More or less like a pressure group, because our main agenda is to advocate for our rights and to reach out to the people that are responsible as in for operation of the mining activities to have better working conditions.
Okay, now this program, as I have done in the introduction, I have stated that here we are trying to give information to our viewers, to the consumers, to all stakeholders, information about fakes. And you're going to be telling us shortly if the mining industry has a counterfeit problem. You'll be coming to that. But before that, I'm curious to find out this mining industry. No wonder it has only very few players, 21 companies. So maybe it's not very relevant to our day-to-day life. It's not very important. Is it actually important to our day-to-day life?
Absolutely. It's very important. The 21 companies, those are the ones that are within the Miners Forum. We've not been here long enough, but I know the rest will join with time as when they understand our objectives. But of course, the mining in Uganda is big. You have about maybe like about 50 mining leases. You have about 500 plus exploration licenses, and so many location licenses. You have about 5 million people who
employed
are
in mining.
In mining.
5 million people.
5 million people employed in the mining.
That is about 15-12% of the population.
Yes. So
of
the mining is a big thing. Though there is much thought about it and people tend to undermine it, but us who have been in that business long enough, we know the relevance of it.
5 million Ugandans are employed in mining, but the person at home now watching you is saying, okay, 5 million, but these people are not relevant to my day-to-day. Where do I see mining products in what I am eating, in if I go to the hospital? Can you explain in relation to how the mining industry helps to facilitate our daily life? Does it actually facilitate?
Yeah, of course it does.
In what areas?
Now, when you look at agriculture, whereby you have about 70% of the people involved in agriculture.
In this country?
Yes, in this country. The agriculture taps into the mining sector. Now, one, like when you talk about fertilizers, those are minerals. You talk about potassium, nitrates. Those are minerals from the extractive sector. And, you know, like farming, you cannot do very productive farming year in, year out without application of fertilizers. So if you have a big population of people involved in agriculture and they are tapping into the extractive sector to, you know, to make use of what we supply, then it's a big thing. When you go to like animal rearing, there is bentonite clay that is used in animal feeds for milk production and removing toxin from, you know, the animals. Then, of course, when you go to the side of technology, still they tap into the mining sector. When you look at the bulb filament, it's made out of tungsten. And tungsten,
that's a mineral.
That's a mineral. Mm-hmm. It's a filament. You cannot have light without, you know, tungsten, you know, whatever medium that provides the light that you can talk about. You cannot talk about the storage media, like the CDs and all that, those where
the electronics. There's minerals there.
Yeah, without talking about tantalite, without talking about tin and all base metals. So
it is in our everyday life.
Absolutely.
We see aspects of the mining industry
everywhere in the planes, in animal feeds, fertilizer,
in medicines.
When you talk about construction, you know cement. Cement, you need the limestone, that is a mineral. So there are so many sectors that directly tap into the mining, you know, the extractive sector.
Okay, so if mining plays such a pivotal role across all sectors that support human life, the big question is there a counterfeit problem in the mining sector?
Yeah, of course. The problem is big.
Why do you say of course? I thought these are minerals, because for us here we are used to counterfeits of a manufactured product. But even something natural that is gotten from the soil, how is it fake? Tell us how there is a problem in mining.
There are quite a number of examples that I can highlight. And of course there are so many. One, I will start with gold. The reason even as to why we came up with as Miners Forum was to fight the fraudsters who were doing a lot of counterfeits, as in duplicating the genuine gold that we produce. Somebody gets steel, they melt it, then they coat it with genuine gold, they go out to the market and sell. And somebody, of course, will buy. We lose the money, and, you know, it's a very big problem. Now,
so gold, if you just stop there, because this is very rampant. I don't think a month can end without a story on fake gold. And for us, as the anti-counterfeit network, anything that deals with fake, we are really attracted to it. But we don't understand how then you can fake gold. I know you've explained the steel and then you quote.
Yeah, you quote.
but we need you to break it down for us. So, because gold is tested, okay? Gold is not like this bottle of water. I'll buy it. They'll say it has minerals, this and that. I will not check. But I thought gold, when you buy, it is tested. So you'll be able to tell that this is steel and this is gold. How is the faking of gold done?
You know, it is a very big racket.
And why do people actually get conned when they can test?
You know, it is a very big racket, knowing that gold is a very, you know, good business. You can earn a lot of money out of it. Mm-hmm. These people have gotten a very big network. As I said, there are so many labs around. These people even can still connive
with a lab.
With a lab. And when you take your product, they will test. If they are using their XRF machine to test, of course it will give them a big, you know, percentage that this is genuine. But then when you undertake another kind of test, that's when you realize that you have been duped. So it is a racket. It's a very big racket.
But Tom, if Lab A gave a fake report or result on gold and somebody bought the gold, isn't that lab held responsible? Can't you go to the authorities and report and the license of that lab is cancelled? Are you saying there's no regulation in this sector, that people get conned and the lab gets out with it and cons another person after giving fake results?
Of course, you are much aware that this is a liberal economy. People wake up and do the business that they do. And, you know...
isn't there regulation?
The regulations are there.
Uh-huh.
But it is very organized in the sense that everybody in the line of business is fake. If you are not cautious enough to take your time and understand who you are dealing with. Somebody can even have a lab here, then tomorrow when you come, there is no lab. And when a person comes in Uganda, you will say the lab in Kololo, let's go, we test your, you know, when you take your gold and somebody will test and say, it's okay, you know. Of course, minerals, you cannot test using your eyes. I've been in this business for the last 11 years. But when, like, you give me the fake gold, I might not tell unless you run the analysis report to confirm.
So even you cannot differentiate between the genuine and fake gold?
With my eyes, I can't. So it is even expensive. You need to run the test, go to the lab, they will charge you, you know. It's also expensive. So sometimes people don't want to go an extra mile of incurring a cost. They just end at a point and realize after that they have been conned. Somebody buys and thinks something.
But you're now saying you're in the business for 11 years, and you're telling us it's difficult to buy genuine gold. So, are there genuine gold sales? If somebody is watching now and is hearing about Uganda, do we only have fake gold sales, or do we have actually genuine gold sales? And where can somebody, which lab can somebody go to? Which person can somebody who wants genuine gold go to? Because we need to provide a solution.
Of course, we have fake and genuine gold on market. Now it depends on who you are dealing with, you know, in the business. Now if you came to me, of course I know who to deal with. I will advise here and
Tell
there.
us a genuine lab.
Now,
in Uganda, don't we have a genuine lab?
Yeah, of course, Uganda one, we have Makerere, they have a lab.
Is that genuine? Do they give good results?
Yeah, of course they do.
A lab in Makerere.
You have DGSM, that's the Department of Geological Survey and Mines. Then, of course, you can even use the refineries around, like Simba Gold Refinery, AGR.
Those are genuine?
They are genuine.
AGR is genuine?
Yes. If you took to their lab, they will give you a good result, and, you know.
So, in other words, it's not a hopeless situation. On the market, you can still buy and test for genuine gold.
Absolutely.
Because you see, we have at the same time got to promote the industry and attract investment to the industry. We do not want to label the whole industry to be fake, whereas they are actually people like you who are doing your best to stand up and hold the flag of the country and say, look, we are here, we can do legitimate business
Absolutely.
in the minerals of Uganda.
Absolutely.
We need to take a break. We're back with the second segment of this League of the Genuine Conversations with me, your host here, Fred Mwema. I'm hosting Mr. Tom Nsubuga, the chairman of the Miners Forum. Tom, you broke off at a point where you're talking about the fake lab tests and some fake dealers, basically. But there must be genuine people. If somebody has just come to this country, can you walk them through how they can actually get a genuine purchase of gold? How they can avoid? What are the do's and don'ts? And why do people get conned? Do people do shortcuts?
Of course, to have a good business or deal, whatever, in gold business, it is better to consult the right people. And the Ministry of Energy has done quite a lot of work to try to streamline the business. They have registered all the people dealing in extractive sector. If you are basically dealing in gold, they are all registered. You are on their portal.
So on the Ministry of Minerals Energy portal.
Yeah, portal. So whoever claims that is a businessman or is a dealer
will be on the portal.
Will be on the portal. And of course, to deal, you should have papers allowing you to deal. If you are dealing in gold, you should have what they call the mineral dealer's license for precious metals.
So don't buy gold from somebody without a license.
Without a license.
Okay.
Either mining rights, if he claims that it is from ML 4478 or something, you should be able to go and confirm from the source.
So even when somebody gives you a license, do a due diligence.
Do a due diligence.
Verify before you part with your money.
Yes, yes.
What next?
Then, of course, another thing is to do the testing from proper labs. As I said earlier, there are quite a number. There are even other small ones that do a good job. And most of them are registered by Geological Survey and Mines.
Like who?
There are so many Indians around the side of Kamocha. When you go to the department, they can give you a whole list.
So is there also on the portal of the ministry a list of approved labs and licensed labs?
Of course, yeah.
So in other words, what you're trying to say is don't do shortcuts. Go to the proper channel, go through the authorities, go to the ministry, go to the Department of Mines, and go to the licensing authority. You will be protected. If there is any act of conning, any loss you suffer, the authorities through the channel can assist you.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So these cases, I have seen some cases where some foreigners will come and they're buying gold from very unclear people. Some maybe Congolese have come in and on the street, in the hotel, on the side. Is it proper to be buying gold from a hotel room and all these things?
It's very risky because most of the time those people, they are not legitimate. They are not registered, they are not known. But of course, as you said, something fake most times is very appealing. If the kilo is buying maybe at 50,000 on LME, somebody will say, me, I'm selling at 30. So somebody will compare the 50 and the 30, making a difference of $20,000 and will say, this is very good business. So somebody might not take time to find out from the reliable sources whether something that is trying to trade in is genuine or not. So most times they are conned that way because you see, they want to do business very fast. They would not want to involve maybe a lawyer to move around and verify the papers, to know the source. Somebody will tell you, I brought it in a funny way, I welded maybe a box and a truck, I got it from Kisangani, I got into Uganda, nobody knows it is here, I'm dealing in,
So you're saying there's a lot of smuggling?
Yeah, of course. Of course, smuggling is there, and much of the gold that you see is done on the street. It is brought in that way, and people are conned. Of course, after being conned, it is quite hard even to
to trace back and
you
help
can't.
them.
Those are so many cases, and surprisingly, they will come and consult you after. And somebody sold me gold. You ask, where is the picture? And it is this. You say, do you know this person? I don't know. He said he had this, these are his papers, and you check, these are fake papers,
So you mean that not only is the product itself, the gold, faked, but even the papers are faked?
Of course.
There is something I saw called the Kimberley certificate. I think that's like a document of ownership or purity.
Yeah.
So even those things can be
Yeah,
faked. Customs papers.
Everything can be. So you need to be very cautious.
So if they can be faked, because there's a case that I read about in the papers, this foreigner actually had a fake gold export to him, and they lost some money. But the gold was held, I think, in a customs area, and there were customs officials, and everything was stamped, and the airline, and the gold reached Dubai when it was fake. So, to what extent do some corrupt government officials or who work with government agencies, to what extent are they contributing to the faking of the gold, to these gold scams? It can't just be something of one crooked person doing it. Don't you think they have support from the institutions that are supposed to be checking them?
Of course, I cannot rule that out. But of course, each government department has gotten its mandate where they start and stop. Customs will not, participate in ascertaining whether the gold is fake or not. Now,
because they don't have the
they don't have. So if you bring in something to customs,
and it has a certificate,
it has a certificate from Kimberley, it is cargo in transit, they will not check. It is not their mandate. It's not their mandate, to check. And if it is in transit, it will you bring it here, you'll pay 1% of the import duty, they stamp your papers, and somebody will move with fake gold up to Hong Kong. I did some work for some client of mine who got in cargo. It was about 26 kgs. We did the import with the ministry. They stamped the papers and traveled with the bag up to Hong Kong. I received a call after 3 days and was telling me, I have a big problem. Then I was like, what happened? He said, whatever I took, they have put in in a machine to do the analysis report, and the entire 26
is fake.
But
had it been checked here?
No, here they can't check. Somebody has the material, it is in transit. It is just in transit.
In transit.
Yes, so it was in transit, and that person lost about, it was about $1.something million, and he had his property that he had mortgaged to get the money and lost a lot. He left the business and said, I will never return to Africa. Now he's in South America doing other things. It was a very bad experience. And with time
it was in transit from where?
It was from Congo. So these Congolese, when they brought it here in transit, so they sold it to my clients,
who also didn't touch it with all the certificates and documentation, and also onward sold.
Onward sold. So it was a very big problem.
But I was reading about this gold faking and scams, and what came to mind was the story of that Liberian, Castle. I think it's called Castle. He's now in a jail in the US, in North Carolina. He hit Americans, I think, up to 25, close to $30 million, his scam. And what he used to do was that the buyers, the unsuspecting buyers, used to come down to Liberia, and he would actually show them bars of pure gold, which they could taste. And then when it came to supplying, he supplied something else. it turned out that this was rented gold bars belonging to the government of Liberia. You understand?
Yes.
And that was very, very... So you see that probably there are regulatory weaknesses within the African governments here that are enabling this scam. If we had strong controls, because how do you rent government gold and use it as a sample in your house? They found that the bars were actually in his house, meaning that when he made the money, they were sharing. Your message to African governments here, do they need to play a bigger role, or is corruption just blinding everything?
You know, there is a lot that ought to be done. Though there are a number of systems that are put in place to check the business. There is what we call the traceability, the trace from the source up to, you know, the final person. But basically this is to the European market. When you are dealing with the Chinese, there isn't much about tracing. Of course, it is quick deal to see how to do the business. But that kind of situation is not sustainable. And it brands the country. Otherwise, people now, very many fear to come and do the gold business.
And yet we want to attract foreign direct investment. The mining industry is capital intensive.
Yes.
It needs technology transfer and so on. But if we are thieving and conning around, you think that we are making the future of this industry bleak through these scams?
Absolutely. So there is a lot that has to be done.
So what is the forum doing? You are enjoying yourself. You're still young as a chairman. You might be chairman for the next 50 years.
I know. I'm retiring soon, because I've you know, what I promised I have achieved with the group registration and having a...
Have the scams reduced? Can an investor...
Yes.
Have they gone down? Because we still have stories.
They have gone down. Because if you have a platform of 150 people that are dealing in the business, then it is easier to share information and, you know, to reach out to whoever is, you know, to give the
What
proper...
sanctions? We now need confidence that we are with the chairman of the Miners Forum. What confidence do we get from you that this counterfeiting and faking is punished internally? Does your organization reprimand the members? Does it expel those errant people who are thieving? Or you just fold your hands and let them do as they want? Give us assurance.
Assurance, I cannot give assurance, because we don't have the capacity to reprimand whoever is quoting wrong. But
you chase them away.
It's worth noting that our family is small, and if you did any kind of deal that is not proper, it will be known by almost everybody, and it will be very hard for you next time, as in to participate in any trade. And of course, the people in the ministry also, some are part of the platform, and we share with them. So when you go there to do any business, that will be the end of you.
What I was meaning, do you, like, for example, blacklist some of these fakers? Do you have a name and shame, and you put it out there for the whole world to say, Mr. X was involved in this, don't deal with him?
Now, much of that
is within your power.
Yeah, that much we are doing with the Mineral Protection Police.
There is a Mineral Protection Police.
Yeah, police. So whenever we get you know, cases of that sort, we present that case as in to clean up our trade to them, to follow up whoever it did.
And even you go to court and testify against them if you have evidence.
Of course we can, and we're ready for that, to clean up our business, because stealing it is not sustainable. We are in this business for a very long time. We don't want to steal and tarnish the name of the trade. So much of what we've done is, whenever there is that kind of situation, we approach the Mineral Protection Police, and present our case. But of course, you know, there is a lot of money involved, you know. In this kind of business, somebody is caught, taken to police, spends there maybe a night or two. The next thing you hear is been given a bond.
He tries to hire the best lawyers.
Yeah, best lawyers around. And the next day, if he was from Congo, you hear the man has disappeared. You know, it's... You know, but we are doing all within our means to...
Before we close this segment, does Uganda have gold?
There's too much gold here.
I thought all the gold comes from Congo. We actually have gold.
Yeah, there's a lot of gold here.
Where is the gold? You mentioned 5 places
now
which have gold in
now
Uganda.
You have Busia.
Busia.
You have Mubende.
Mubende.
You have Buhweju.
Buhweju.
You have Kanungu.
Kanungu.
And you know, even the bigger part of Karamoja is endowed with a lot of gold. You've been hearing the talk of Uganda has gold worth 28 point something trillion dollars. And in Busia, 3 days ago, they were commissioning, I think Wagagai, the director was commissioning that mining area, and they are saying they have a deposit of 31 tons of gold. And that will be a lot of money trickling into the country. And of course, gold, when you talk about the export volume, it is second to coffee. So there is a lot of gold.
So it's not fake news that we actually have gold.
There is a lot of gold.
We need to take a break. Welcome back from the break. We are continuing our conversation here on counterfeits in the mining industry. The chairman here of the Uganda Miners Forum, Uganda, Mr. Nsubuga, has been talking about fake gold and so on. But Mr. Nsubuga, not everyone actually is able to get hold of this shiny metal, this precious metal. So again, you might not appear to be very relevant to many people who cannot even afford. They can't afford food, and you are talking about gold. Can you tell us if the mining industry, counterfeits in the mining industry, affect our food, for example? Somebody wants to hear that. What fakes from the mines are actually entering into our food, and are they there?
Yeah, there are quite a number, and I'll be very specific. As I highlighted earlier, we have a very big percentage of people that are involved in the business of agriculture, and of course you cannot do the farming without talking about the fertilizer, and agriculture taps into the extractive sector to get the fertilizer. The
so you're saying we have fake fertilizers that are being fed by fake mineral components?
Of course.
Like you called it what? Butter?
Potassium.
Potassium.
Yeah.
So there is fake potassium. You just told us how they fake gold. So how is potassium faked? So they put steel and coat or what?
No. They mix in a lot of other things. You see, the ore is more less like the soil you see. So when somebody incorporates in a lot of other things, you might not be able to tell. And of course, like when they are selling onto the market, the information given as in how to apply and all that sort, you find it's lacking. When you are applying fertilizer, let's say might be the NPK, let's look at nitrates. Nitrates, it's one of the mineral that you know, we supply from, you get from the...
You mine it also?
Yeah, we mine it. Now, there is a percentage that you should apply
to make a good fertilizer.
To make a good fertilizer. Now you have A and B. Now because B wants to make more money, he will put less of nitrate,
which is more expensive.
Which is more expensive, and he will put less of potassium, and less of calcium and all that sort.
And then puts more of what?
And you know,
soil.
Maybe puts more of soil. So when you apply, even if you have the advice of the agriculture officer that this is what you have to apply in an acre, if you put less of all the things, the ingredients in the NPK, if they are the right proportions, maybe you can use like about 500 kilograms to enhance the soil for productivity. But if somebody is putting, is faking and putting soil and is putting less,
and sawdust and all those things,
so that you not.
So in other words, what you are saying that on the market, if we don't control counterfeits in the mining sector, we are going to have fertilizers that don't fertilize the soil, and we are going to threaten our food security.
Absolutely.
So if we have a hunger problem, we need to be fighting counterfeits in the mining industry.
Absolutely. So it would be.
So you guys are not irrelevant actually,
huh?
to our sustenance.
We are very, very, very important, though sometimes people underestimate our potential and our contribution. Because there is no way you can plant beans year in, year out without the fertilizer. So if you don't trickle down to the source, to screen and know who is doing what, when you go downtown, you'll find lots of companies doing the same thing. They are supplying NPK. So there is need for the.
But you are chairman, and you have a lot of power. Miners Forum. What are you doing to ensure that we stop production of these fake fertilizers? Are you working with the other agencies in government? Are you making some investigations? Are you naming and shaming? Because for us as members of the public, we don't know. What steps are you taking, or do you promise to take? Okay, one of them is you are talking about it.
Yeah, we are talking about it, and that is what we've done most of the time. And we have a problem that we are constrained. You cannot take a step. You need to move, and those are resources. So,
but mining is very lucrative. You make a lot of money. So the problem is you want to keep looking smart and keep the money to yourself, and not give us the information. Is that correct?
Now, if you have UNBS doing 10% of the supervision and reaching out to the ground, it's a whole government department. How about the Miners Forum with about 150 people who are, doing their business? So taking an
So in other words, you are saying there needs to be more effort. Actually, it's an obligation on the government agencies that are supposed to check the products manufactured, the products that we consume on the market. They need to be doing their work.
Absolutely.
You're not satisfied with what they are doing.
Absolutely. Somebody down has a mine, is dealing in industrial minerals, maybe is mining bentonite, clay. He will pack, he will mill and pack, and bring and supply.
Bentonite clay is used in?
Making bentonite. Now bentonite
is used in what? In fertilizer also?
No, animal feeds.
Okay. Bentonite clay is a raw material for animal feeds.
For animal,
for what? For the chicken?
Yeah. And for the
chicken,
pigs.
for the fish meal, for the pigs, for the cows.
Yeah, for the cows.
And you're saying bentonite clay is also faked, but clay is clay.
You see, there are different
Again,
types.
they mix something.
Yeah,
there.
they mix. Sometimes they mix. You go on the market, you buy bentonite clay from B and bentonite from A and B, but it is different. You see?
And there are standards. Isn't bentonite clay supposed to have certain specifications and ingredients? Who checks? Okay, I've just mined bentonite clay. I go where to check to get a certificate? Do I go anywhere, or I just go to the market? Who checks me what I have mined? Its quality.
It is the quality is UNBS, but of course they are.
But you've said it's not on the ground.
It is not on the ground. Me, I have not seen them in what we do. I have been in the industry for the last 11 years.
And you've never seen UNBS at your mine?
I have never, though whatever I'm doing does not call for them to come and
So for you self-regulate.
Huh?
You have a small machine there to check the bentonite.
No. We don't. We don't have a. You know what? When you supply to the customer, the onus is on him to check for himself and say, now this is good enough. This is not. But if I've supplied about 10 tons, where will the person have the time? So ultimately, it will be the final consumer of the product, the one who has a farm in Iliantonde.
To give you feedback that my chicken, the egg production was good, the meat, the consumers are happy,
Yes.
then that's when you'll know that the bentonite clay was okay.
Yeah, the bentonite was
And this
bad.
this is a shame, actually.
It's a very big problem.
So why are we complaining if other countries reject our farm products?
Now those are the issues. Those are issues that need to be addressed. Otherwise, we shall, one, lose the market, two, the employment, then three, the issues of health.
Talk about the health. Because on this program, we know that counterfeits are thriving because people don't know about the concealed dangers. We have an acronym called the DANKANI. You can see concealed dangers. What are the concealed dangers of fake bentonite mineral in animal feed? What are the health implications for us?
Now, you see, like when you give your animals bentonite, one of the reasons as to why you're applying it is to remove the toxins. Animals consume a lot of dirty things, so it removes the toxin. So if you don't apply it to the right proportions,
The toxins will remain in the meat.
it will remain in the meat.
Oh
You
dear.
go and buy, you eat, and of course they will build up with time and you'll have issues. That's why you see we have a lot of diseases, and sometimes even ask yourself, I'm cautious, but I'm getting so many diseases, and you know,
The cancers and all these.
and cancers. So we need to trickle down to the source. Otherwise, if we start from C and forgetting the B and the A, then we shall miss a point.
The mining industry provides the A in
Yes.
our production.
Yes.
So when we are making noise here about the herbicides, acaricides are fake, we forget the minerals
Yeah, we forget.
that go into the food for the plant health, for the animal health, because our health depends on the health of the plant. So if the plant was fed with a fake mineral, its health is not good, and then we consume.
Of course.
If the animal ate fake food, its health is not good, and then we consume. I think I didn't know, by the way, until until I spoke to you about this subject. I always thought mining industry was was one of those things, but now it's actually alarming
It's alarming.
that counterfeits in the mining industry is a bigger problem.
It's a very
Much
big
bigger problem now, because again I was seeing that there are a lot of mining chemicals that you use to extract, which are also problematic. You've just talked about nitric acid, there is sulfuric acid, there is mercury, there is lead. Now, we know very well that some of them have active carcinogens that are cancer causing. So not only is the mineral itself can be faked and causes a problem, but even the chemicals that you're using to extract the minerals
Absolutely.
have other minerals in them or material that is dangerous. So how are you controlling the fakes in the mining chemicals? Because that's also a problem.
Now, the biggest problem is lack of information. I have visited so many mining sites, and you find people are using mercury for the extraction of the gold, but they don't know the consequences of getting direct contact.
What are the dangers of this mercury? You tell the audience.
Of course, one of the most serious one is the cancer that builds up with time. And when you look at their palms or their hands, you find
And there's no protective gear.
they don't have protective gear. Most of them, you see somebody is complaining of the eyesight. They are complaining of the smell, that I'm not smelling. You know, it's because of being exposed. Yeah.
The skin.
But, yeah, because they are looking for short gains, But of course, it comes with long-term consequences in terms of health. And when you look at mercury, it is a very big problem. But how does it come onto the market? People have access to it, you know.
But mercury in school, the mercury in the thermometer used to be liquid. So how is this mined, this liquid? Or is it in a solid form also?
Now it is in liquid form.
So how is it mined?
It is not mined here. It is a chemical that they use in the process of processing the gold.
It is imported?
Yeah, it is imported. It is imported, but it's a very big problem. I have a friend of mine who has done a very comprehensive research with the side effects and all that about mercury in
respiratory blood issues.
But of course, the biggest problem is this information. People put in money to get this information, but it does not go to the people.
So a lot of the 5 million people that you said are involved in mining, they are being exposed. Those who are not using proper protection and they don't have knowledge. So you're saying 15% of the Ugandan population could be exposed, those who are in mining, could they be exposed to these dangerous chemicals or minerals?
Absolutely.
And so 15% in the next few years could be falling sick.
Of course, if you're not cautious enough. But of course, as in the
so Uganda Miners Forum Uganda, what are you doing to stop this hazard?
We are trying to reach out to different entities.
First, your stakeholder, the miner.
Yeah,
Do you like go with a megaphone and announce everybody down there in the mine, please, there's lead, sulfuric acid, nitric acid?
Now, we most times we reach out to the Department of Geological Survey and Mines, and we tell them about our program of sensitizing the miners about the effects of the chemicals and all that sort. So they put us within their program. So when they are interacting with the community, we can give our cases and highlight the effects that these minerals have. Then of course the counterfeits, people are making fake things out of our trade, spoiling our names and all that sort. So that is how far we've gone. But we are engaging with different research companies to share with us the information. The fact that we are on ground, we shall give out the same to the people that are doing the business so that they are aware of the effects of the chemicals. And
we are going to do some work with the Uganda Cancer Institute on how counterfeits could be a causative factor on the increasing cases of cancer. But now I am seeing that a must-go-to area in this research that we want to do is the mining industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you have about 20,000 artisanal miners.
And they work there, no protection. They are inhaling things.
You can imagine 20,000. That is not a small, small number, and it might have increased because most of the artisanal miners are in gold.
Artisanal means what? Small scale.
Yeah, small
These guys
scale.
with the basins.
Yeah, with the basins, and they are in gold business. So it is a very, very, very big problem. I wish they
But what I am seeing, Tom, is that counterfeits are compounding an existing problem. The mining industry itself is already dangerous with all these gases and these liquids and chemicals used in the process. I was looking at the World Bank report of 2020, and it was estimating that the mining industry in Africa will be growing by 500% by 2050. In other words, the more we discover minerals, the more we go into mine unsafely, the more we get exposed. So the wealth that will come out of mining might not justify the harm and deaths that we shall suffer.
Absolutely.
From mining. So this might just be like a nuclear bomb. Like, there's no benefit as if you compare.
But you
Isn't
see,
it scary? Because now 11 years,
Mm.
maybe that's the reason why you want to stand down as chairman. You see how dangerous this thing is.
No, not really. You know, it calls for a lot in terms of time, and people want you to be all over the place. Their chamber is calling you. These Yuga Sam, they are calling you to give this and this in terms of time, and the fact that also we are trying to set up our own things. But we shall try our best to keep in and see how to help. But the biggest problem now we have is short-term gains that compromise.
Greed. You want
Yeah.
to, not greed, you want to gain quickly,
Yeah.
irrespective of your safety.
Yeah. Somebody will say, let me eat today. Eventually,
Tomorrow will look after itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the problem that we have. You tell somebody that when you get exposed to mercury, you'll have cancer.
Or lead.
Lead.
But they say, today I'm okay.
Today I'm okay. And somebody might not probably feel the effect within 2 or 3 months. But of course, it builds up with time, and it will be a very big problem.
Tom, we've run out of time, but there's a lot I need to ask you. The mining industry uses a lot of water. And you guys really contaminating our water sources and therefore causing fakes in water. A quick comment on that.
Of course it is. We use a lot of water.
Where does the dirty water go?
The dirty water, sometimes it trickles back to the streams.
You see, and we
that
draw
is
water
that
to
is
drink.
a very big problem. But there are proper systems.
How do you clean it?
Now there is a system that we normally use. When you get time, you'll come and visit my site and see what we are trying to do. It is called, I think, sleuthing.
It's a water treatment process.
It's not, yeah, it is treatment, but you tap water from the stream, then you use it in the factory, then you have like pits. When it goes to, after using it, then it comes back to pond A, it filtrates, then
and it can now be used by
yeah,
human beings.
like that. Not used by human beings. You can use that water for about maybe even a year. But also it is another big problem, because it is so hard. If you are doing mining business, you cannot have a productive mining area without a source of water. It is number one priority, and power.
A source of water and another place to dump the fake water. The other thing about mining, an area which has been mined, the land is totally wasted. You do pits, and so you guys are just damaging the environment. This industry here, yes, we like the gold, but it's generally, it appears quite destructive, and then you don't feel back. You see that challenge?
Of course, that it is there, but there is a requirement, as on the side of whoever owns the mining rights, to restore.
You do restoration.
Yeah, when they give you a license, it comes with obligations. When you go back to renew a license, there are a lot of things that you ought to have done.
Did you clean up? Did you restore?
Yeah, you need to fill up the pits, and you need to protect the environment, because much of the mining, it is underground. Why are you cutting the trees? You see? So there are
standards which
there,
can
of course,
be
absolutely
complied with.
But now the only thing is, people being on ground to see that whatever was the commitments that were made by whoever owns the rights is doing the same on the ground.
Their obligations.
Yes.
Lastly, because you don't eat minerals. I'm sure you also eat other products.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have any experience with counterfeits that you've been exposed to?
Quite a lot. Quite a lot.
One or two examples.
There are many. I have tested yogurt, and when you get B, and I have actually taken even time. I would not want to conceal the company here for their staff, But when you pick A and B, you test. This one is testing differently. And when you look at, it's a big problem on these yogurts. The yogurts, it's a very big problem.
There are a
For
lot of
us,
fakes.
There are a lot of fakes. There are a lot of fakes. And when you have products that are being advertised on the media, and you know people know the product, if you have like Chiarenga Tonto, then somebody down where we stay will make another Tonto, Tomu Tonto.
And copy, and nobody is there to check.
Yes, of course.
You said you were in Luzira somewhere here in Kampala, and you went to a supermarket and found a lady changing the expiry date. What product was that? Yogurt also?
Yeah, that was yogurt, and somebody was, changing the expiry date. I took my time and asked that, why are you, trying to, what are you doing? Say that this thing expired, but I told the person, said, it has expired, but then why are you extending the expiry date? We had a very long conversation. I say, like when you get maybe beef imported in from Egypt, they give even 3 months. You see? 3 months for that product to expire. Within that time, you don't have to consume. But this product has expired, and
you're
for
putting.
you're extending. Actually, I got pissed. I said, whatever I wanted to buy from
Mr.
that
Tom, we have overshot the time. We are happy to have you on the program. Give us your closing remarks to the audience, to Ugandans, to fellow Africans, your message in respect of Counterfeit.
I appreciate the time given to me to air out my concern regarding Counterfeit. It's a very big problem that is affecting a very big population in terms of health, environment. I pray that we take the time to understand the B, the C of the entire production chain. To remove the wrong elements. Now, if the material is coming from Tom, who is a miner, if you can find a way how to, to tell Tom to stop, it will not reach the B and it will not reach the C. And whatever information that we get, we should be able to give it out to the community, the local people.
And act on it.
That will do us
a very
good service.
Thank you so much. This conversation almost failed to end because he has just told us that the counterfeits in the mining industry come right through into our food, our water, our fertilizers. Virtually our sustenance is being impacted by counterfeits in the mining sector. So if you thought that only counterfeits in other things are important, this is as well extremely important. I hope that we have learned a thing or two from the discussion here, from my new friend now, Mr. Tom Nsubuga, Chairman, Miners Forum. We would like again to ask you to always be with us on Friday. We have this life-saving important conversation that we have promised and continue to promise to give you. Please share, like, give us the thumbs up, give the notifications on the reminders. We shall continue to bring you more and more programs to empower you, to sensitize you against counterfeits. We would like to sign off by asking you not to be fake, to always buy and sell genuine.